Page 124, Hanon exercise number 1. It calls it the Amazing Aerobics of Hanon. There is a book out written by a guy named Hanon. That's his last name. It talks about him up above there. And I have the book, and it's fun. I recommend it's worth getting and playing through it when you just want to work the fingers. You just want to play. It's a lot of fun to do it. Nothing wrong with it. I like to use the scales and arpeggios instead of any exercises they have, but I'm not opposed to using them. And this one and the next one are both from that book. I recommend the book. If you want to get it, I think I have a link to my Amazon page for it, the Virtuosic Piano and 60 Exercises or some such thing. I'll put it up on the screen here. If you want to order it, there's nothing wrong with it. Czerny, C-Z-E-R-N-Y, Coral Czerny, wrote another book. He was another famous pedagogue, and he wrote a book with all kinds of wonderful things in it too for just working the fingers. And again, I have a link in my Amazon page to that book too. So let's talk about this exercise number 1. Now there's different ways of playing this. It depends on your teacher, and different teachers have different approaches. I don't want to go into all the different ways of doing it. It's really up to the imagination of the person playing or the person teaching. But let's just talk about this pattern. What it is it's a set pattern. Each measure is the same pattern, and you're either going up the keyboard or down the keyboard. So in the right hand here, you're starting here, but there's you skip a note here. So really you're starting in this position, and you go up there. But when you come down, the thumb comes up here, and then immediately you go up again. So you skip a note. And that's the pattern, and that takes you up. I'm just transferring weight. I'm just rolling it from one side of the hand to the other. I'm not holding still and trying to make the finger. I don't recommend it. I really don't. Just let the weight, transfer the weight from finger to finger here. And you'll go up a ways until, I don't know how, this I think goes up an octave here. Beginning of the 3rd line, you're up here. And then you'll come back down. The actual book, and the piece in the book goes up like 2 octaves or something. It goes 3 octaves somewhere. It goes a long way up. It's not bad. But in the 3rd line here, you're up here. Now you're going to skip between 5 and 4. So you work your way back down. And again, I'm transferring weight. I'm also letting the wrist collapse at the beginning of each measure here. When I go faster, it's each measure. When you first start, I recommend you collapse on each note. So here, here, and then as you speed it up, maybe you collapse every 2 notes. And when you speed it up some more, collapse every 4 notes. Speed it up some more, you collapse every measure. The point is that no matter how fast you go, it's got to be smooth and even and controlled. Don't go faster than that. Your speed limit, how fast you can do things under control, it will increase over time as you get better and more experienced at piano, but don't go beyond it. Just stay there. Now, if there's nobody around listening, nobody can hear you, and you're just having fun, who cares? Go as fast as you want. But don't make it a habit of that. Especially if there's somebody listening, please don't go beyond your speed limit. You don't want to torture them, because it will sound pretty bad. So keep it under control, and use a metronome, nice and steady, and use this wrist thing. I explained this. I haven't talked about my scale videos yet, but I think it's probably time or past time that you should be doing my C major scale video. The beginner part, 1 octave up and down. Learn the C major scale. And I talk about collapsing the wrist and accenting the notes and the technique on playing this, because you'll use that technique in all the pieces you're playing. So I would encourage you that. Each day, the first thing when you first start, I don't know, you can practice more than once a day, I typically do. The first time, then just go through that scale. Each day, just go through the scale. The idea isn't to learn the scale and then go on. The idea is to keep using the scale as an exercise. Left hand is doing the same thing, it's just when you're going up, you got it 5 and 4s between them. Maybe a little fast, you don't have to go that fast. And then you're going to go all the way up to the beginning of the third line, you're up here, that's a G, that first note, and you're going to skip between 1 and 2. You do the hands together, it's here. You're playing the same notes. You get to the beginning of the third line, you're up here. Working your way back down. That's an interesting thing. They're making suggestions on technique of playing this. That's up to you and your teacher. I don't like lifting fingers high up off that because that promotes tension. We don't want any tension in piano playing. You should be relaxed. It should not hurt to play the piano. There should be no pain involved in this. If you want to do that, that's... But I don't recommend lifting these fingers. No, I keep them down and just transfer the weight over there and let the wrist collapse. Don't worry about the dynamics. The MF, forget it. Just whatever it is, it is. You go as slow as you gotta go to get it, but focus on transferring weight from note to note and let the wrist collapse. Depending on how fast you're going, either. That's really about all I have to say on these. I'd like to play this with you just to double check these notes. The rhythm's not a problem, they're all eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'll give us 4 counts. It's repeated at the bottom, but for the sake, because this is an exercise, it's not a musical piece per se, I'm not going to repeat it. We're just going to go through it one time, skip the repeat, and just do the end. They don't even give you all the measures. See, in the second line and the second measure, they're just telling you keep doing this pattern up because you're here. Just keep doing the pattern up to here. The next measure's up here. The same thing when you're going down, they don't give you all the... Now the Hanon book actually prints out all the notes. But just do this pattern up to as far as the beginning of the second line, or the third line, and then go back down. Now in this play with me, the speed we're going to go, I'm going to accent every beat, every other note. I recommend and I'm going to drop my wrist on this. This is for an exercise thing. It's just drop the wrist with the accents. Drop. Down, up, down, and I'm transferring weight from finger to finger. Do the whole thing that based on the speed we're going now. That's how I'm going to do it. It's what I recommend you try. So let's try that. I'll give us 4 counts. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1.